The Prime Minister arrived in New Delhi on Thursday late night after taking part in the BRICS Summit in Durban. Talking to media on board, he said that the government is stable and will complete its full 5-year term. He also said that the Lok Sabha elections will take place on schedule.
Coalitions raise issues. Sometimes they give the impression that these arrangements are not very stable arrangements, and I cannot deny that those possibilities exist. But I am confident that our government will complete full 5 years, that the elections to the next Lok Sabha will take place on schedule.
Replying to a question whether the government has the wherewithal to sustain reforms, the Prime Minister said reforms were not a once-for-all setup that the government was seeking by way of reforms, and added that the government had to take into account the concerns of allies.
It is not a once-for-all setup that we are seeking by way of reform. Reforms certainly have to take into account the fact that we don't have the majority to get Parliament to approve some of our reform proposals. So we are certainly dependent on the goodwill of our allies, and I would be the last one to deny that there are uncertainties, but even then we are confident that the reforms that matter and which are going to yield results in the next few months, we will be able to push them through.
In his first meeting with the new Chinese President Xi Jinping, the Prime Minister raised the issue of trans-border river systems. President Xi assured him that China was quite conscious of India's interests. Both the countries have agreed to have high-level visits later in the year.
I had a very productive exchange of views with the new President of China on the sideline of the summit. We reviewed the whole gamut of our bilateral relationship and also discussed the opportunities that exist in exchanging views and coordinating our position in various regional and international fora. I also took the opportunity to raise the issue of trans-border river systems, and I requested the Chinese government to provide a giant mechanism to enable us to assess the type of construction activity that is going on in the Tibet Autonomous Region.
Hailing the BRICS Summit's decision to launch a development bank and a contingency reserve arrangement, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said India's initiatives in these projects made significant progress. He also said that the visit to South Africa for the 5th BRICS Summit was very satisfying.
From the BRICS declaration, a number of important steps have been taken at this summit. I am particularly glad that some projects which were either conceived at the New Delhi summit of BRICS in March last year or were piloted by India during its just concluded chairmanship of BRICS have registered important progress.
During the summit, BRICS nations decided to launch a development bank to finance infrastructure projects and to create a $100 billion contingency fund to tackle any financial crisis in emerging economies, in what is seen as a major win for India's campaign to reform global financial architecture. The idea of the bank, mooted by India last year during its presidency, has been supported by China. Besides attending the summit, Dr. Singh also had bilateral talks with top leaders of other member countries, including China's new President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Prakash Pant's report, DD News.